Things just got a lot more complicated for the Blue Jays. After last night's performance by Max Scherzer, where he only lasted 2/3 of an inning while giving up 7 earned runs, the Blue Jays have already made a change to their starting rotation. And this move affects the rest of the starting pitching staff and their potential roles for the postseason. And considering the Blue Jays are only 8 games away from a potential postseason series, this leaves a very uncomfortable feeling for Blue Jays fans. What seemed like a locked-in Blue Jays team is now having a lot of concerning question marks, and the time to answer those questions is starting to run out. What's up, everybody, and welcome back to Blue Jays Today. In this one, we're going to be discussing the rotation change that John Schneider announced last night and how that affects who we could see in the postseason starting for the Toronto Blue Jays. Before we get into it, though, I encourage you guys to please hit that like button and smash that subscribe button to stay up to date with all the latest Blue Jays news and postseason coverage. All right, folks, let's get into it. Now, the move the Blue Jays are making to the rotation is they are moving Jose Berrios to the bullpen, and this honestly didn't come as a surprise to me. I was thinking they were going to move Jose to the pen for quite some time. Now, John did say, he came out and mentioned after the game last night that he could still start for them as well, but with where they are right now, he could be out of the pen as an option as well. And again, the reason why I'm not so surprised is we kind of were anticipating that Jose Berrios was the outsider of the postseason rotation looking in, because Jose's had a very fine season. It's very fine. He has a 1.6 WAR according to Baseball Reference. His ERA is 4.06 with a WHIP of 1.293. And when you looked at the other potential 4 starters in the Blue Jays rotation for the postseason, he definitely was the outsider looking in. So considering they're moving him to the pen now, while the rotation is kind of scuffling, makes a lot of sense. You want to try and get to the postseason, maybe save your bullpen as you're trying to lock down the AL East, get Jose accustomed to his role. For me, this move makes a lot of sense. However, you might be wondering, what about Max Scherzer? Because after that last night's start, you might be thinking, well, that guy might not deserve a role in the rotation for the postseason. And you might have a point, and that brings up a lot of question marks. Obviously, last night when we look at the box score, it wasn't that good for Max Scherzer. He only went 2/3 of an inning, giving up 7 earned runs. It was a shellacking. We were live for that game, and let me tell you, folks, it was definitely not fun. However, I will agree, there is a quote right here from Max Scherzer, and I will agree with him. And, we've heard this from time and time again. We heard from Whit Merrifield come on the podcast. You're never as good as you think you are, and you're never as bad as you think you are. So if everyone out there is thinking, well, Max Scherzer is this guy who can't even give you a competitive game anymore, that's just not necessarily true, because before this, he was giving Blue Jays opportunities to win. However, the last couple outings for him haven't been as great. Obviously, last night we just broke it down. He did go 5 innings, only giving up 2 earned runs against the Baltimore Orioles his last time out. He went 4 1/3, giving up 4 against New York. That wasn't that good. 4 innings, 4 earned runs against the Milwaukee Brewers. That wasn't that good. 6 innings, 4 earned runs against Minnesota Twins. That wasn't that good either. Before that, he was on a really good stretch. I'm not going to get into it. You can see it all here if you're on the screen. He was in a really good stretch, but yes, as of late, it hasn't been that good. And then considering last night's performance, that kind of puts the cherry on top of, what has been a bad stretch going into the postseason. I just looked at Jose Berrios' numbers. Max Scherzer's got a 11.7 ERA in the month of September, really inflated by that last start. So he's had a bad stretch, and honestly, a bad stretch in September, considering everybody in this rotation, all the roles were up for grabs. Everyone was feeling like a number 2 and number 3 pitcher in the rotation. Same with Max Scherzer. And if you're having a bad stretch, I've said this for time, your role will be in question come September. So that leaves us right here, right now. We're 8 games away from a potential postseason series for the Toronto Blue Jays, and we have question marks on who would be pitching in that postseason series. Let's break down what we do know. We obviously know that you're going to have Kevin Gausman starting game 1, and you're going to have Shane Bieber starting game 2. Considering they have 1 start both for each of these pitchers left in the remaining in the season, that's not going to change even if they blow up. That's not changing. That is locked in. We know who these guys are. We are going to trust them in game 1 and game 2. But what about game 3 and 4? That's the big question for the Blue Jays right now, because we thought it was Max Scherzer going in game 3. Maybe they don't consider going to Max Scherzer considering what happened, but let's table that right now and say that we're not considering Max Scherzer. Who else would you leave the door open to for a Game 3 start? Well, obviously you've got Chris Bassitt. He feels like at this point a shoo-in to start in either a Game 3 or a Game 4. He's had, again, a very fine season for Chris Bassitt. A 3.96 ERA, 170 innings. He's got a whip of 1.327. And he's had some scuffling stretches, throughout the entire year. But this honestly has been his best stretch in September, where he's got a 2.66 ERA. So for me, again, you're pitching great in September, you're getting a start in the postseason. That's the way it goes. But that's not still, we only got 3 guys. If we're still considering that Max Scherzer isn't a part of this rotation, that's still just 3 guys that are in that rotation for a postseason start. So who the hell do you have? If you have Jose Berrios in the pen, well, people were bringing it up on our live stream last night, and Keegan Matheson actually brought this up as a potential option too in his latest article. It might be Trey Savage. I know, it's crazy. I, even last night, was saying not a chance in hell they'd ever pitch Trey Savage. But hear me out. Trey Savage is going to pitch this Sunday. If he looks lights out, dominant, gives you 5 or 6 innings, 1 earned run or 0 earned run or 2 earned run, then you give him one more start to end the season. He looks dominant, same kind of thing. Do you go with the rookie, the guy who started the year out in single A, low single A in Dunedin, Florida, to start in a postseason series? I'm still kind of in the camp that, like, this guy's too young. You don't want to throw pressure on him. But if he's thriving right now at the big league level and he's gone through all this pressure all year long, like, who's to say not he starts in a postseason series? And I think, and I'm going to tie it all back to Jose Berrios, I think this is even more important why you're moving Jose Berrios to the bullpen, because let's say you do go with a Trey Savage, and you only want him to go through like 1 time or 2 times through the lineup, like in a postseason series. We don't want to give you all the pressure, kid. Don't give me 100 innings here. Don't give me 100 innings, 100 pitches, 6 innings here. Let's have Jose Berrios come in relief, 3rd time through the lineup, and clean it up. And we don't want to put all the pressure on you. I could see that happening. Same argument I can make with Chris Bassitt is that if he doesn't give you a lot of length and doesn't give you a lot of longevity in a start in the postseason, you've also got Jose Berrios could come and clean up the work. But that's all assuming that Max Scherzer doesn't get another doesn't get a start in the postseason. I do think he will get another chance to prove himself next week when they're back in Toronto to say, hey man, you've got one more start to say, I deserve a start in the postseason rotation. And if you nail that down, then I think that kind of answers a lot of questions, and we don't really need to go and look at Trey Savage. But my point being here, guys, there's a lot of question marks. There's a ton. The only rock solid answers is you've got Kevin Gausman and you've got Shane Bieber. And again, I'll emphasize it. We're still 8 games away from the postseason, and we're having questions on who our Game 3 and our Game 4 starter is. That is an uncomfortable feeling. I was hoping we had that solved, and I thought we did just weeks ago with the rotation, but we are having some big question marks right now. It's uncomfortable, but that's the strange reality the Blue Jays are in right now, especially as of the time of recording this video. They haven't even clinched the postseason, and they still have the magic number of 5 to clinch the AL East. So a lot of question marks. Hopefully they get it solved very soon. But guys, you let me know your thoughts about this Blue Jays rotation right now, and who would you have go in a postseason series? Please make sure to hit that like button, smash that subscribe button, and as always, guys, go Jays go.